hold on. You should reconsider if you believe that the controversy around hip-hop and love had fully subsided. Because all of your preconceived notions about one of the most recognizable power couples in the franchise were completely destroyed tonight. We watched Yandy Harris and Mendeecees Harris pitch us the greatest fairy tale for more than 10 years. We are the starting point for everything from prison visits and heartfelt proposals to matching designer ensembles on red carpets, extravagant vow renewals, blended family vacations in Dubai, and those flawless Instagram photos with enduring captions. They were dubbed #relationship goals by millions. We supported them. We wept beside them. I selected Yandy, and we quoted his well-known statement. Defects and everything. What if, however, none of it was ever true? In a shocking exclusive interview that sent the whole hip-hop and love fans into a tailspin. Tasha K. Yes, that Tasha K., sitting across from her with her eyes flaming and her voice trembling with what she describes as years of repressed truth, just launched a nuclear bomb on the internet. It wasn't only tea that Tasha spilt. The entire kettle was poured by her. Tasha leaned in so close that the camera captured the fire in her pupils as she said, "I'm done protecting their lie. Mendeecees and Yandy. You all swoon over the marriage license. Take a screenshot of the ring and save it. That was never legitimate, never filed, and never acknowledged, baby. What you've been idolizing for years was merely a fictitious relationship that was manufactured and dressed up in high-end brands. The internet is ablaze. Frame by frame, old clips are being examined. The number of receipts is soaring. Additionally, it is said that a very prominent couple in Atlanta is frantically trying to control the narrative before it ruins everything they have created. We're going through Tasha's astounding charges minute by minute tonight. The family members who supposedly knew the truth all along, the alleged payoffs, the covert meetings, and the one piece of proof that may permanently destroy Yandy and Mendeecees' empire. This is detonation, not just drama, so fasten your seatbelts. Welcome to the episode that everyone predicted would never take place. Tasha reveals that Yandy and Mendeecees were never truly married. Now let's get started. The screen changes to a brief montage of old pictures, grainy paparazzi shots from years ago showing Yandy and Mendeecees at family cookouts, award presentations, and court hearings during his legal troubles, just as Tasha drops that teaser about someone else who's ready to speak out. Then all of a sudden, we are in the present. The face of a shadowy figure sitting in what appears to be a home office is somewhat obscured, but the voice is clearly audible. One of the cast members of OG Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, Rashida Frost, has always maintained her elegance, but obviously not tonight. At first, Rashida's voice sounds peaceful, but I stayed out of this for years because I assumed it would pass. I reasoned that they might make it real and correct it discreetly. However, after hearing Tasha explain everything, I can't pretend that I didn't realize that things weren't adding up back when we were filming season 6. Menz was still locked up, and Yandy was running around claiming to be Mrs. Harris. However, whenever someone asked for proof, such as, "Show us the license," she would laugh it off, change the topic, or pull out that large ring. For example, jewelry is synonymous with marriage. Unfortunately, it doesn't. She stops and sighs a little. One day, while I was in the makeup trailer with Yandy, she was on the phone arguing with someone I assumed to be Mendeecees' mother, Judy. She kept saying things like, "Mama, I told you we handling it. We don't need to rush the paperwork. It's just for the show right now." When she hung up, she looked at me, saw that I was listening, and said, "Rashida, don't worry about it. It's family business." I nodded and smiled, but on the inside I thought, "Girl, if it's just for the show, why y'all selling?" And that's not even the most bizarre aspect. We all had one producer meeting before to the Bahamas vow renewal shoot. The network executives in the room simply stated, "We need this to feel authentic, but we don't need it to be legal because legal means liability. Legal means more money in taxes. Legal means complications. So, keep it symbolic. Keep it emotional. Keep it viral." Everyone nodded, including Yandy, who simply grinned without resisting or fighting. Cut back to Tasha, who is nodding along and saying, "Yes, tell them everything because the fans need to see how deep this went." That's the same smile she wears after she wins. Tasha jumps in. "See, Rashida confirming what I already knew. They planned it. They discussed it. They chose the illusion over the truth." And every time a fan asked, "Why no public marriage certificate? Why aren't there any combined tax returns? Why are there no actual legal advantages? We married in God's eyes, or we don't need a piece of paper to prove our love, baby," Yandy would say, striking them with spirituality. That's adorable until you realize that the piece of paper served as the basis for a multi-million-dollar brand. Now, let's talk about money because this isn't just about feelings. Yandy built her entire management company on her reputation as the ultimate wife-mom boss, the inspirational speaker who overcame adversity with her man by her side. However, if that marriage isn't real, then many of those motivational quotes start to look really suspicious. Was she really Mrs. Tasha pulls up another screenshot of an old Instagram post from Yandy with the caption, "Officially off the market, Mrs. Harris forever," with the ring emoji and the courthouse emoji. Fans went crazy. Was Harris really Mrs. Harris when she was pitching herself as a family expert on panels? Was the Harris-Smith legacy even a thing legally speaking? Hearts fire emoji suggestions in the comments, but Tasha focuses on the year 2015 after the ceremony, but there is no record of it elsewhere. "Look at this," she says. Even the phrase, "officially knowing good and damn," was used. It wasn't official, though. All the way to the bank, they laughed and played in our faces. Social media is currently experiencing a high level of emotion. Yandy exposed, Mendeecees fraud, false marriage, and divided fans are all popular topics on Twitter, formerly known as X. Who cares if it's not on paper? Love is love. Others are furious, feeling duped, like they invested years rooting for a lie. One widely shared tweet says, "I bought their couples therapy merch. I sobbed during their reunion specials because I stood up for Yandy against every single hateful comment, and this is what caused me emotional harm." Back in the interview, Tasha confronts the defenders directly. It doesn't matter if they love each other, but it matters when they monetize the lie. It matters when they used fake forever to sell us dreams while keeping their real assets separate. It matters when the kids are being raised under a last name that's tied to a union that never happened legally. What happens if something goes wrong? God forbid custody disputes, inheritance, and taxes. We now move on to the family side. Mama Judy's response, as word spread when this initially began. Leaking, Judy sobbed for around 30 seconds on Instagram, stating, "My son deserves better than this circus." Then the live stream abruptly ended. According to people close to the family, Judd has been pleading with Mendeecees to come clean for years, but he is loyal to Yandy, ride or die, even if the ride is built on quicksand. Speaking of loyalty, let's talk about Mendeecees himself. Since Tasha dropped the bomb, he has been radio silent. No statement, no Instagram story, nothing, but insiders claim he's angry at Yandy for allowing it to get this far. He reportedly pushed to make it legal back in 2019 after his legal issues were resolved. He wanted the protection and the genuine commitment, but Yandy reportedly refused because doing so would interfere with her brand narrative, the independent boss who prioritized love over convention. Tasha laughs bitterly at that independent my behind. She has been relying on the MS title for influence for years. The mask is slipping, and the fans are seeing the real picture. One fan comment reads, "If it was never real, why drag us through all those prison proposal scenes? Why bring us to tears for nothing? I sobbed too, y'all." Tasha nods as if she understands that suffering. The drama intensifies when former cast members begin sharing their stories. Kimela posts a cryptic quote about fake love and real checks. Erica Mena goes live and says, "I always knew something was off, but I minded my business now. I initially believed it, but when you see behind the curtain, hear the conversations, and see the paperwork, that doesn't exist." The tears quickly dry up and are replaced with straight anger. "I regret doing so." Spice and Blue, two of the more recent girls, are also responding. Spice links an outdated video of Yandy's wedding to her tweet, LOL Atlanta fake from jump. Tasha ends this section with more teasing. I told y'all somebody else is coming forward and they got video proof, not just words, from a private event where Yandy herself admits on camera that the marriage was for the show Stay Locked In. Because when that drops, it's game over for the Harris-Smith empire as we know it. The screen fades slightly as Tasha looks directly into the camera and says, Part 2 of this mess is just heating up because the betrayals, the cover-ups, the side deals, they run deeper than anybody imagined. And believe me, it flickers back to Tasha's face when the next person speaks, but suddenly there's this electric energy like the interview is hitting. It's a stride. Alright, y'all, she says, adjusting her microphone and leaning in closer. We recently learned of the producer meetings and the makeup trailer, according to Rashida. The network's own statement that it should remain symbolic is whispered. Not legal, but that was nothing compared to what's about to happen because the individual I hinted earlier, the one with real video proof, just sent me the file, and it's explosive. Cut to shaky video from a cell phone. Timestamped 2017 appears to be an exclusive Atlanta afterparty. One of those castly occasions, perhaps. Red Solo cups in low light. There's background laughter. However, the camera pans to reveal why seated on a couch. Men's arm around her shoulders, right next to her. They are both giggling off camera while intoxicated. When you're making things official for real, someone off-screen cries, "Yo, Yandy." Yandy laughs heartily and throws back her head before saying, "Girl, please. We already did the official part for the cameras. That's all we needed. The paperwork. The real one." Mendeecees simply smirks and shakes his head, saying, "Yeah, that's my girl," as the room and the video erupt in ohs and laughing. "No, that's for suckers who don't know how to play the game." Yandy continues, "We got the ring," as she draws her in. "We have the children. We acquired the brand. When we can simply live our truth our way, there's no need to complicate it with taxes and attorneys." The camera trembles as if the person filming is startled yet continues to roll. Then Yandy looks directly at the camera for a brief moment, winks, and says, "Don't tell the fans they love the fantasy tour." The frame freezes on that wink, and her voice returns over the video. "You see, that's not a drunken error. That's confidence. That's someone who thought the truth would never come to light because nobody would believe it. Who would risk their place in the circle to expose it? But here we are, and that video just appeared in my direct messages from someone who was sick of carrying the guilt." Social media is imploding once more. One viral thread begins with receipts. Don't lie. Receipts don't wink. Receipts don't play in our faces like that. Another fan posts, "I'm done." Clips of that footage are being stitched, reposted, slowed down, analyzed every frame, and dissected. Fans are yelling betrayal in the comments. "I stopped following. I blocked." People that make fun of our feelings while profiting off our opinions are not someone I can stand by. Not even 20 minutes after that video is released, Yandy goes live on Instagram for the first time since the story broke. She's sitting in what appears to be her home office, wearing flawless makeup and full glam hair, and she starts off calm and collected. "You know I don't usually deal with rumors, but this one is getting out of control. Tasha and whoever else is pushing this narrative are hurting real people, my family, my children, and my peace. Let me be clear, Mendy and I are married, we exchanged vows in front of God and our loved ones, and that's all that matters to us. The paperwork haters love to talk about paperwork as if it defines love, but it doesn't." She raises her hand and displays the ring. "We've been through hell and back, prison, court battles, miscarriages, business ups and downs, and we've always come out stronger. Therefore, if someone wants to question our union, go ahead, but don't question our love or commitment." The live chat is chaotic, with some people typing, "We love you, Yandy, so don't come for my babies because that's where I draw the line." After reading a few comments, Yandy smiles her characteristic smile and declares, "I don't owe anybody my marriage certificate." Others are spamming receipts where the license shows something real. "I don't need to provide the internet with proof of my existence. When we said, 'I do,' you weren't present. Why? Stop pretending you know my tale better than I do. Nobody was present for the private moments." She ends the live with a kiss to the camera, saying, "Love y'all, mean it. Stay blessed." However, the blogs jump right in, pointing out that she never denied the lack of paperwork, never said we filed it, and never addressed the video in which she literally called the real paperwork for suckers. Instead, she pivoted to emotions, to God, to family, a classic deflection, and fans aren't buying it this time. Back in Tasha's interview, she's watching the live replay on split screen, shaking her head. "You see, that's damage control. Well, don't deny, don't confirm, just spiritualize it. Make the fans feel guilty for asking." However, now that the genie is out of the bottle and more people are speaking, here comes Mama Judy for real. This time, it's not rumors or whispers, but actual audio that leaked from a phone call between Judy and a close family friend. Judy's voice is thick with tears and frustration. "Years ago, I told that boy to fix this mess. Make things right for the children. I'm sick of seeing my grandchildren living a lie, but he listened to Yandy too much. She got him wrapped, and she got everyone wrapped, talking about God's eyes and love overcoming everything. But what about the law? What about when something occurs and there's no protection, no rights? No, nothing." Judy persists despite the friend's attempts to reassure her, and that vow renewal in the Bahamas, Chile, was the biggest joke I've ever witnessed. A private jet for what? A fake ceremony? For what? My son could have simply gone downtown with her and done it correctly, but she insisted on the photos, the scenery, and the sponsorships. I adore Yandy like a daughter, but this isn't right. This isn't family. The audio goes viral, dividing family fans into opposing viewpoints. Some claim Mama Judy spilt tea because she's upset, while others claim she's being messy to get attention. In any case, the fishers in the flawless image are turning into Kenyans. Tasha jumps back in, and now she's connecting more. Dots recalls Yandy's launch of Carter's Kids, a children's clothing line, and her constant promotion of building generational wealth for her blended family. However, if there is no legal marriage, what happens to inheritance? What happens to custody rights if, God forbid, they split? What happens to the brand built on Harris Smith? Since Smith and Harris never legally merged, she pulls up another document, an alleged 2016 email exchange between Yandy's lawyer and a business manager discussing as Yandy responds quickly. Let's put that on hold for the time being and concentrate on the brand launch. As the interview reaches a fever pitch, Tasha says, "But wait, there's one more layer. That's not love. That's calculation. That's protecting her bag while pretending it's all shared. That's why the truth hurts so much, because it wasn't just a personal choice. It was a business choice, and we fans were the customers buying into the product. The money trailed because hip-hop and love funded all of those events, weddings, vow renewals, romantic montages, travel, lodging, stylists, and more. Was the network complicit if it wasn't real? Were they aware? Did they help sell a fictitious marriage to millions of people in order to increase the number of viewers? I can't speak for the network, but I know execs laughed about it in meetings and called it the greatest storyline since Scrappy and Bambi. They never pushed for real paperwork because real paperwork means real complications, and they wanted drama, not documents, Rashida says in a brief voicemail she sent earlier. Tasha nods slowly. Stay with me, y'all. This ride is getting bumpier, so the tension is thick now. Tasha's eyes are shining like she's been waiting for this exact moment her entire career. The perfect storm cast, producers, network, fans, all fed into the same illusion until one person decided enough was enough, and now the fallout is here. Yandy Mendeecees, your move, because the next 24 hours will determine whether this empire survives or crumbles, and trust when more comes out tomorrow. Okay, y'all, she replies after taking a slow sip of water and setting the glass down with a purposeful clink. We've watched the video. Mama, we've heard Judy's tears. We've watched Yandy's live deflection. But the real earthquake, the one that's going to crack the foundation wide open, is coming from inside the house. Literally, because the next voice you're about to hear belongs to somebody who shared a roof with them. Somebody who watched the lie being built brick by brick day after day and finally said, "I can't do this anymore." Cut to a fresh clip. This one was professionally shot. It looks like a sit-down interview in a neutral living room with soft lighting and a neutral background. The face comes into focus. It's Erica, the baby mama of Infinity G Herbo and a former Love and Hip Hop guest who has been subtly connected to the Hara circle through friendships and events, but mostly through her own messy history with the show. She's sitting straight back, and everyone knows her as the person who dated Mendeecees before Yandy locked him down. Her voice is steady but laced with years of resentment. "I kept quiet for a long time because I didn't want to be called the bitter ex, but after watching that video of Yandy winking at the